All right, all right. What's going on, party people? This your man Griff. Yeah, quick video. Okay. All right, check it out. As you see the title is talking about getting, you know, lawmakers to change the laws. And here's the thing. What did I call it? Yeah, how to get lawmakers to change notary laws. Okay. I was trying to remember how I had it. Um, Here's the thing. A couple of nights ago, we had a clubhouse talking about, or maybe the other night, about the state mandated fees. And since I've been in this business for 5 years, every 3 to 6 months, well, before it was like every 6 months, and now it's like every 3 months, there's this argument about the state fees. And notaries are saying, well, I'm gonna do it this way and I'm gonna do it that way. And a lot of people are like, well, they need to do this for us, they need to do that for us. And the question is, how do we get the lawmakers to change the laws? Mm. Yeah, I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired. That's why I wanted to hear him do this video. Typically, when you want something changed, it's because you've actually implemented it and it don't work. And that's also given if what you have implemented for the thing that you're doing is supposed to be that way. In other words, if minimum wage is supposed to help you have the minimum amount of money to help take care of yourself, but the cost of living is way, way, way up here, okay, then we probably need to change that. If the thing that you're doing was never meant to be something to take care of you as a primary source of revenue, income, then they might not want to change the laws concerning it, i.e., notary. So, first of all, is the notary business or being a notary, not the notary business, is the notary as commissioned as a notary supposed to be or ever designed to be your main line of business? It's either yes or no. How does the state view it? And if the state views it as something that says an auxiliary function, that is a volunteer thing, however, they will allow you to get some type of compensation, you trying to get them to change the laws to where you're getting paid as if it's a regular job might not go over. But then if they are willing to do that, the question is, are you breaking the law? But then telling them to change the law. So the law says to do things this way, but you're breaking the law and doing it another way. But then you want them to fix the law so you don't have to break the law. That's what I feel we're doing. We know what the law says, and primarily talking about convenience fees. The law, in some cases, say you can, and some say you can't, and then other state statutes and laws don't give you an idea either way. With that being said, if your state law says you cannot, explicitly say you cannot, then of course you cannot. And then you have to have some argument that shows as to why it will be beneficial for them to change that. If your law says doesn't say you can or cannot, it doesn't give any guidance whatsoever, but you have a handbook that does give you guidance on what you can do. The question is, why aren't you doing that? Implement that. Do that first. Operate within the confines of what your state says, what you swore an oath to. And then as you see that, this not working, now you have something to present to them that says this isn't working. But you can't present to them saying this isn't working, and yet you have a track record of doing opposite of what they said. That's not going to fly. They're not going to go with you charging people a fee that they clearly have not articulated, and you never approached them, you never talked to them about it. You just did it because you felt like it. Hmm. And we have to be careful about listening to people, and especially, and I'm not trying to be funny here, but there are a lot of people, and it's been this way since I've been in the business for the last 5 years. A lot of people who are paralegals, that claim they understand law, they understand how to interpret law and things of that nature. But the one thing that has been missing from the conversation with any paralegal, past or present, is that none of them have ever told me that they actually went to a lawyer in their office and asked them, what can I do concerning my state law? Does my state law doesn't say I can charge this, or am I allowed to charge it? Am I allowed to interpret it that way, irregardless of a paralegal degree? Because if it's all about you have to have a paralegal degree, then none of us who don't have one can ever interpret it any other way except for what the way it's laid out. So I've yet to hear them as a paralegal say, I use my resources that I have at this law firm that I'm working at to talk to an attorney to get an answer. But even if they do get an answer, does that answer fit you where you're at in your state? The answer is more likely probably no. So following the advice of somebody who's a paralegal or even a lawyer may not be the best thing, especially if they're not in your actual state, if they're not licensed to practice law in your state. So then the question becomes, why are we sharing certain opinions about legal matters when we're not in a position really to do it, or basing what we do off of our connection to the legal field, and we haven't exhausted all opportunities and resources to use those resources to say yay or nay that you can do something legally. I keep saying, if you got Legal Shield, then you should be calling a lawyer on that Legal Shield team and asking them, according to my state law, and you submit that to them. Say, please take your time, and when you have an opportunity, can you tell me whether or not, based off of the way the law is written for my state for notaries, whether or not I can charge these type of fees? What's so hard about doing that? Well, I can tell you, it is hard. The reason why it's difficult is because if you contact the state, they have you on record acknowledging that you understand that you can't do something. Just like if you contact the state and ask them, can I charge this? And they say, oh, yes. Now you have them on record. This is why it's important for us to talk to them rather than talk to each other about this. Talking to one another, even if you're in the same state, doesn't do any good unless you're talking about formalizing a way to approach them and bring your grievances to the government, as we are allowed to do, and ask them to correct something that you feel is a deficiency. That's the way, in my opinion, from my understanding of civics and American history, is the way it's supposed to be done. Rallying a bunch of people who have no influence, who can't stand and march with you in your state because they're not residents of your state, doesn't do any good. Getting people all hyped up on Clubhouse, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, Discord does not do you any good if they're not able to really lend a voice to your cause. And even if they are from another state who has it, your state legislature may not want to listen to them. So the thing is, can you stand 10 toes down? So I understand the importance of making sure we're getting paid. And right now, it seems like the people who are most concerned about that is the people who are no longer doing loan closing, apostille, fingerprinting, or whatever else. And you say, well, I'm gonna just do general notary. And now you realize in general notary isn't garnering you the money. And see, one of the main ways that you get lawmakers to change laws is to respect their authority concerning the law. If you told your kid, hey, I'm getting ready to go out, I need you just to stay in the house. Now, you said stay in the house. You didn't say whose house. You come home and your kid isn't there, and you're like, where are you at? Oh, I'm over here at Taquana's house. I'm over here at Cody's house. I'm over here at so and so's house. Okay, I told you to stay here at this house. No, you didn't. You said stay in the house. You didn't say which house. At that point, you're going to feel disrespected and that that child is not respecting your authority. So when we have a handbook that tells us what to do and we choose not to even try to do it, we are constantly trying to find ways around it. We're telling the person who's in charge of enforcing that and those guidelines that we have no respect for what you have written or even your predecessor and what you are here to support. We don't have any respect for that. We don't respect your authority. And the way to get somebody to listen to you is to show them that you respect their authority. So you can't approach the forgot to put that stuff the lady told me to put in my water. You cannot be on Clubhouse and other public social media forums complaining about what your state is and isn't doing, and then you go and break the law, and then you want to sit there and tell them you need to fix it so I don't break it. That don't make a bit of sense at all. And if I'm wrong in this, please tell me in the comment section. You know what I'm saying? Tell me in the comment section. But what would happen if any one of our Secretary of States asked 50 of us and say, "Hey, come to this here, come up here, meet with me. Matter of fact, I'm gonna be in your area. I want to meet with these with the notaries in the area. So all of y'all can come. I'm gonna be available from 5 to 7. Now, first thing the Secretary of State asks you is, how many of y'all are charging convenience fees? Just be honest with me. How many are charging convenience fee? 35% say they are. Okay, fine. Other people probably didn't even know you could or didn't know anything about it. But we'll just say 35%. Raise your hand. Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm charging. So who's charging $20 or less? 2 or 3. Who's charging $40 or more? Darn near everybody. Okay, fine. So you're charging $40 in convenience fees. Where did you see that in our handbook that said that says you can do that? Nobody will be able to say that because it's not. Okay, but you're doing it for what reason? Why are you doing it? Some brave 2 or 3 people say, well, we figured since you didn't say we couldn't do it, we might as well do. But we told you what the fees you can charge that are laid out in there, this, that, and the other, right? Yes. But you didn't say we couldn't, so that's why we're doing it. Did you check with us? Did you call us? Did you inquire whether or not that was an option in the law? No, we didn't. We just looked at it and just said, okay, since you didn't say it, you didn't mean you had no intentions for us to follow something that you didn't say. So since you didn't say it, we're gonna do what we want to do. That's going to become a problem. That will become a problem flat out. So think about it. If you want change, follow the guidelines. Many of you young ladies, many of you young ladies' mothers, how did they get their husband to do so? Oh wow, he comes home from work. There's a cooked meal. The house is clean. For you men, how do you or your dad get your mom to do things? When I come home, I don't throw my clothes in the middle of the floor. I pick up after myself. I sit there and listen to her rather than read the newspaper or watch Sports Center. There's certain things you do for a person when you want their attention, when you want them to respect you, when you want them to do something on your behalf. So to me, for our Secretary of States, they want us to follow the law. They understand that it might not be fair. They understand that it might not meet every need, but you at least got to put forth some effort to follow it rather than get online and talking about how you're not going to follow it and you won't follow it and you just going to do your own thing. That doesn't make sense. Why would you put yourself in that position? Because I need money. And that's really what it boils down to. You need money and you don't feel the way things are currently constructed is going to bring you the money that you desire. And I don't disagree. But we took an oath to follow those constitutions, to follow the constitution of our state, and to abide by our notary laws. So, which way are you going to roll? Follow your notary laws or do your own thing? And hopefully, you don't have to stand 10 toes down against a judge. But if you choose to do so, then you do so and be happy with your decision. So if you got any questions or comments, put them in the thing below. Talk to you later.